I just as a reminder, you guys, this is my aunt and she lives in SoCal. So I'm really excited that you guys get to hear from her today. So, Jenny is a self love coach who guides men and women of all ages in creating the life of their dreams with principles of self awareness, self acceptance, self compassion, and self fulfillment. She has always been an entrepreneur and has created several successful businesses. It's been really fun to watch her do different things throughout the years. She hosts the podcast Falling in Love with Yourself, which is beginning its third season. She has also published A Year of Self Love, 52 Intentions to Help You Fall Deeper in Love with Yourself, a journal and card set. Jenny recently hosted her first annual Falling in Love with Yourself at the Beach Retreat, and she facilitates free self-love tribe Zoom meetings every Monday morning. She is passionate about forming connections, helping others, and stepping out of her comfort zone. She is a mom of two, lives in Hermosa Beach, California, and loves running, socializing, and embracing the beach lifestyle. So take it away.
Thanks, Jessica. Yeah, I just want to start with some gratitude. And I'm so excited to be here. So excited talking to you specifically, each and every one of you. My favorite group to work with are entrepreneurs because I have an entrepreneur spirit. And so the passion that we get from each other, that I get from you, is just bar none. So thank you so much for having me here, Jessica. Thank you all for showing up today, showing up for yourselves. And yeah, so right off the bat, I'm going to do a giveaway. So if you have your phones handy and you go on to Instagram, my handle is Jenny_Drake_. And if you all follow me and then send me your email address, I will put you in the drawing for none other than my journal. This is my self-love journal that I published, A Year of Self-Love. And there's a self-love intention for every week of the year. And then just a small little space each day for how you live that intention. And it comes with a card set, so you can randomly choose your intention, or you can go, in order, or you can check the index. So give me a follow and send me your email address, and I will do the drawing for that. Got to get that out of the way so that you guys have something exciting to look forward to. Okay, so Jessica talked about the principles of self-love that I coach and I teach, which are self-awareness, self-acceptance, self-compassion, and self-fulfillment. I really have gone through my own self-love journey throughout the years, and I've done a lot of different things. I was a teacher for 15 years of elementary school kids. I sold special occasion dresses. I've done tons of different side hustles. I was married for 22 years and went through a divorce. I have two adult age kids, and everything that I've learned, the struggles in my life and the good, comes back to my relationship with myself. So when I'm really, really struggling or going through difficulties, I've learned that I'm probably not treating myself great, or I'm not focusing on giving myself what we need. And definitely in the space of entrepreneurship, self-love is what makes or breaks us as entrepreneurs and the success of our business, in my opinion. I go by the quintessential rule of, when my cup is full, it abundantly overflows into all aspects of my life. So how do I keep my cup full so that I can give to my family, my community, and my clients? And that's what we're all here for, right? Is to serve our clients and to build a great business. So hopefully you have a journal, or the notes section of your phone or something. And I'm going to go through all 4 of those kind of quadrants of self-love. And I'm going to ask you a question. And hopefully at the end, we'll have some time, about 5 or 6 minutes, to kind of go through, and you can answer and go through any aha moments, or even ask me questions that you might be struggling through and want to be guided through the lens of self-love. So with that being said, let's hop into kind of the self-awareness quadrant. And I've come up with a couple of questions that might kind of guide you towards your inner self, because self-awareness is really the first key to self-love. If we can't love ourselves if we don't know ourselves. So how do you self-connect? So kind of write down the question and jot some ideas, or think of them if you'd rather do a meditative experience. But how do you self-connect? And how often do you self-connect?
Jenny, would you mind giving some examples of what that actually is?
Yep. I'll be happy to. Just going to give you another second. So I love that she hopped on and asked that question, because I see kids in the background and spouses, and none of us have an empty life, right? We are like overflowing with our to-do list and responsibilities and so much on our plate, right? So we think of self-connection as a luxury. And maybe that's what came up for you when I asked, how do you self-connect? Like, what in the world is self-connection time? Like, I don't have time for that. But really, it's so important to be intentional and mindful about our self-connection time, because how are we going to grow our business and run a thriving, successful business if we aren't connected to ourselves? So I definitely can give some examples of that, but it looks different for every single person. So I can tell you how I self-connect. Every morning, I wake up before the sun, because self-connection for me is more important than that extra hour of sleep, because the dividends that it pays. So I start with a spiritual ritual that I do. I am not religious, but I am definitely spiritual. And my spiritual rituals bring me back to myself. So I have a couple daily meditative readers that I go through, and then I just spend some time thinking about what those readers brought up. And then I go for a run or a walk. I'm super blessed and grateful to live across the street from the beach. So I go and I self-connect without any music, without any podcasts, at the beach. And I just breathe and listen to myself. Now, not everybody has an hour. So how can you self-connect in 5 minutes? It might be driving your kids in the car, like putting on something for them to listen to, and you just go inward. Self-connection is just going inward. How am I feeling? What am I thinking? Where am I at? Checking in with self. So if you don't know what self-connection is, or if you feel like you're not doing it too often, this is not a place to like beat yourself up. Just be mindful. And we'll talk why this is so important as business builders and entrepreneurs too. So my next question in the self-awareness is your intuition running your business? Is your inner wisdom running your business? And this is super life-changing, because we go into business because of a passion, or, you know, we want to supplement an income, or, you know, we are feeling called to do it. But then something happens to where we start focusing externally, right? Like, what should I be doing? Oh my gosh, I need this many followers, so I need to be doing reels, or I should be going to more networking because that's how my friend said that she needs to boost her business. That's all fine and great. Learn the ways of other successful people, which is why you're here in BLOS. But when you're learning, take time to go inward and say, does this align with my truth? Does this align with what is inspiring me? Because if we're externally running our business, what's going to happen? It is a freaking mess out there, right? Like the algorithms are changing all the time. There's literally a billion different ways to build a business. So if you're chasing all of those external things, you're going to burn out and you're going to go crazy and you're going to be snapping at your kids and snapping at your partner. And so it's super important to know what you want to do. So I have been really blessed with my coaching business. And I'm not saying that to brag, but I can honestly say that every single thing that I've done in my business has been inspired. Like Jessica mentioned, and I'd love to invite each of you, I host a free Monday morning, 8 a.m. Pacific time Zoom. It's been happening for almost 3 years. We meet rain or shine, and we talk all about self-love. I don't do a ton of the talking. It's really about the participants, but that came to me. The name came to me. What we share about came to me. Like it was a kick in the butt of this is what you need to be the vessel to bring forth. And it's been super successful. The retreat that I just planned, like the entire time, I'm like, this is not coming from me. This is something greater than me telling me to do this. If I was like chasing all of the, and people give me opinions all the time, like you should do this, or do you really do it that way? I cannot feel bad because I know that I've checked in with myself and I know that it's my intuition and my inner wisdom driving my business. So give yourself permission. You're going to hear me say those words, I hope, a lot, because we don't give ourselves permission enough to do the things that we need to do. But this one for self-awareness is give yourself permission to do it your way. One of the coolest things about being our own boss and not working for anyone else is the freedom to do it our own way. So give yourself that permission. Okay, so we're going to move on to self-acceptance. Here's the question for the self-acceptance principle of self-love. What is your biggest fear in your business? I'm going to give you a moment to just really go deep. What's your biggest fear in regards to your business? And what do you do with that fear? If we lean into the fear, it's going to eat us alive. But that doesn't mean that we don't pull it up and bring it out and talk about it. And that's one of the things that I love doing as a coach, as a business coach, focused on self-love principles, is we get to name our fears and we get to look at whether they're expired beliefs or rational or irrational fears. And then I get to coach my clients into leaning into faith over fear. And I'm going to teach you a tool right now that really helps me come from a place of faith on a daily basis and kind of quiets those inner fears, because we've all got them, right? Like one of my fears that I've really worked through is the more money I make, the less freedom I'll have, or the more stress I'll have, or the more problems I'll have. That was a fear of mine. So I was really like putting a glass ceiling on my business because of that underlying fear. Until I named it and worked through it, I got to release it. So I want to teach you the GNS system. It's kind of like GPS, but GNS. And I literally do this. This is part of my self-love ritual in the morning, and it could take 30 seconds. The G is gratitude. What am I grateful for today? And you could do it for your life, or you could do it specifically for your business, because gratitude is the highest vibration, right? Anytime we're feeling scared or stressed or overwhelmed or anxiety, if we speak gratitude, it's like magic. So what am I grateful for today? And then the N is, what do I need today? What do I need? You're asking the universe, you're asking powers greater than yourself. What do I need? Maybe I need energy. I got a really full day today. Maybe I need calm because I'm feeling some anxiety. Maybe I'm feeling clarity. Maybe I'm stuck in what direction to go. Help me to have clarity in where to go or what to do. So the N is the need. And then the S is, what do I want to surrender? What do I want to let go of? Maybe I want to surrender that anxiety or that self-doubt or that fear. So GNS. And literally, like sometimes I do it before my eyes even open, and it takes like 30 seconds. And, you know, if you don't have a lot of time, there's a 30-second self-connection that will literally set the intention for your day. And so I start with that. And then the other thing about self-acceptance is asking yourself, do I have an abundant mindset or a scarcity mindset? Oh boy. We are not naturally born as humans with an abundant mindset. Maybe some people are. I haven't met them yet, but it is really easy to go into that scarcity or lack mindset. And if you feel yourself like, you know, there's so many of us out there, you know, how am I going to fit in? Or I don't have enough. I don't have enough time. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough energy. I don't have enough clients. I don't have enough knowledge. Then you're dipping into that lack scarcity mindset. And so make an intention to be abundant. All of those things, money, time, love, energy, that is infinite. All of it. It's like super abundant. So set some intentions in the morning to welcome in that abundance. One of the things that I do every single time somebody pays me money, and I have 3 businesses right now. So I'm lucky enough to be getting money every day in different ways. Every time my Venmo or my Zelle or something, my PayPal goes off, I literally say, thank you so much for this abundant resource. Help me do more good with it. Help me know how to do with it. So I'm literally calling in more of it because of that gratitude. And this is just the self-acceptance conversation is what we put out is what we attract. So if we're waking up like, oh my gosh, and anxiety and fear and, you know, scarcity, that's what we're going to get back. But if we wake up positive and grateful and passionate, we all went into these businesses because of that passion. If we can tap into that on a daily basis, that's what we're going to attract. The last thing I want to say about that is, hold on. Train of thought went out of my brain. It will come back. All right. It's so funny because the only time I get nervous about speaking in front of people is the time restriction. It's like, that's my fear is, am I going to get through everything in the time allotted? So I've learned to just breathe, and whatever we get through is meant to be what we get through. So, okay, I'm going to hop into self-compassion. Man, oh man. Again, I don't know anybody walking around as a business owner or not as a business owner that doesn't treat themselves with compassion as much as we need to. So I really talk to any of my clients, anyone on social media about really treating yourself with the grace and the forgiveness and the understanding and the acceptance that you would your children or your spouse or your best friend, anyone you love. Like, why are we treating ourselves? Why are we beating ourselves up? And why do we hold ourselves to unrealistic expectations? So we have to be mindful about this too, right? This is what's going to get us success long-term. And it's going to make not just long-term, but the daily so much more enjoyable. Like, our business is not going to be fun if we are holding ourselves to unrealistic expectations and then beating ourselves up when we don't meet those expectations. So radical honesty with yourself is a huge part of self-love. And again, we get to choose. Like, one of the reasons we're business owners is for that freedom of, hey, if I need to take an afternoon off, I'm going to give myself the ability to do that. We'll talk a little bit more about that in self-fulfillment. But the question that I want to ask for you in regards to self-compassion is, are you more attached to the results of your business or the journey? So I want you to think about that for a second. I'm going to pause. Are you more attached to the results or the journey? A lot of us go into business for the results. How many clients, are we getting? How much revenue is coming in? Those the concrete ways that we can track our business, which are important, of course. Being a business person, you have to be responsible about the numbers. But when we're attached more to that, it's going to be such a bumpy ride. And, Jessica's been with me for a long time. She's seen me go through lots of different highs and lows of different businesses. And the ones that I ditched, like kicked to the curb, was because all I cared about was the results. But now I've learned that I'm more attached to the journey. I'm attached to what I can control versus what I can't control. So let's talk about that for a second. What can we control in our business? There's only two things: our thoughts and our behaviors. That is it. We cannot control other people or even the results. All we can do is control when and how we show up. That's it. So if that's what I'm focusing on, and I'm a lot of what I do as a self-love coach is self-celebrations. If you come to my Monday morning tribe, we celebrate ourselves every week. We give ourselves permission to talk about our self-love wins. And so when you celebrate yourself in the evening in your self-love journal, you're like patting yourself on the back for your journey. And when you're celebrating those wins, you guys, the results, the new clients, the speaking gig or whatever, that's like freaking icing on the cake, because you're already like, oh my gosh, I sat down and I spent 2 hours working without any distractions. And I love exactly, what I put forth. Like when you're celebrating yourself doing the actions and the behaviors that you set out to do, the rest of it is like icing on the cake. And then you're raising your vibrations, right? Like you're actually conducting your business from a place of, I'm awesome. And that's not just productivity. That's also like, I'm celebrating myself because I got up at 5 a.m. and worked from 5 to 8. And then I turned off my business for the next 2 hours and spent time with my child, or, did something else. You get to celebrate those too, because that balance keeps your cup full so that you could be a more efficient business owner. So what can you control versus what you can't control? When we're too attached to and I don't know, I mean, this really takes practice, but I give free consultations, to clients, and I have to manage my attachment to whether or not that client is going to sign up with me or want one-on-one coaching. And if I come out of those and they're like, no, it's just really not the time, and I'm too attached to that, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? My emotions, my business, my everything is going to plummet. So I really, whatever will be. And when he or she is ready, whether it's today or in 2 weeks or a year from now, that's out of my hands. I can't control that. All I can do is keep showing up. And I have had that situation numerous times. If you're in sales, no means not right now. And that has been proven. Like I wish all my clients were like, yeah, right now I'm going to, let's set up. Some are, but a lot of them are like, the seed is planted. I keep showing up. I keep, sending out my newsletters, and then they come back and they're like, yeah, I wasn't ready before. Now I'm ready. It's leaning into that faith of the timing of it all too. So I just need to show up. I need to be present. I need to just show up, and the rest will happen the way that it's supposed to. I remembered what I wanted to go back to, and it's so important. Someone, I forget who said this. This isn't my phrase, but it has really gotten me through as an entrepreneur, is make friends with uncertainty. It's really great for just life, right? There is really no certainty. We could, not to like go to the negative, but anything could go away 2 minutes from now. So how do you make friends? You befriend it. You go arm in arm, and you make friends with uncertainty. That little phrase gets me through so much fear and so much anxiousness. It's like, okay, uncertainty is just par for the course in life and as a business owner. So I'm very intentional about making friends with uncertainty. Okay, the last thing I want to talk about as far as self-compassion goes is, if we constantly are asking ourselves, especially in the low points, what did I learn from that? Even in the high points. Like I just hosted this awesome retreat, and I have to say, it went pretty perfect. Like it went really well. And I asked the participants for all their feedback. I did the what would you change and all of that. And then I just sat down and said, okay, what did I learn? If we constantly are asking ourselves the question, okay, what did I learn from it? That really helps us to attach more to the journey. And that what did I learn isn't a self-criticism, like, what should I have done better? Or what did I do wrong? No. What did I learn? That's so much more loving. Okay, maybe next time, I'll do this. Or, oh yeah, I could see this isn't, what am I learning is not a question of self-blame. It's how can I grow? How can I expand? How can I do it differently? And every situation is different, right? Like that's one thing to grasp about being an entrepreneur and a business owner is like, there is no cookie cutter. You might do one thing for one situation and that same thing doesn't work in a very similar situation. So just really giving yourself a ton of compassion of, I did the best I could. My best is enough. What did I learn from this? And I'm going to surrender any self-judgment or negative feelings about that. I would say out of all the principles of self-love that I coach, the one that is constant, and I have clients, I have a male 18-year-old client and a female 76-year-old client and everything in between. And self-compassion is the hardest, no matter what gender, what age, what lifestyle, what season of life people are in. So I really want to invite you to crank up the volume on self-compassion. All right, well, we're moving and grooving. I don't know about you, but I'm having a ton of fun. I'm so passionate about this. I'm so passionate about your business and your success. So I really, really hope that you connect with me on Instagram or Facebook. I'm Jenny Drake on Facebook, but Instagram is where I hang out the most. I would love to connect with you on a one-on-one basis. All right, well, this is the fun principle of self-love that I coach, which is the self-fulfillment. So I want you to ask yourself, do you know the difference between self-care and self-love? It's okay if you're like, no, not really. That's totally fine. Because I'm going to tell you, right? And then how often do you ask yourself, what do I need in this moment? And then give it to yourself. So those are kind of my two questions. Do you know the difference between self-love and self-care? And how often do you ask yourself, what do I need? And how can I give it to myself? All right, so self-love and self-care, they're kind of buzzwords, right? Like, yeah, we get it. Take care of ourselves, have a bubble bath, go out with the girls. So that's awesome. And I call all of that self-care because, yeah, do that, right? Go get the mani-pedis, go take a yoga class. I am not minimizing any of that. But when we do that with guilt or attachment to, those feelings like, or a perfect example, napping. So I usually take like a 20-minute nap every day. And that's self-care. But if it's attached to, oh my gosh, I'm so lazy, or, I feel guilty, I should be, this should be the time that I should be doing that. Like, that's the difference between self-care and self-love. So I always say self-love is the inside stuff. It's releasing the guilt, releasing the shame, and really giving yourself permission to give yourself exactly what you need. And that's why self-love and entrepreneurship, like, literally go hand in hand, because I've said numerous times, like, we're our own boss. We get to give ourselves what we need. We don't have a boss saying you need to clock in at such and such time and clock out at such and such time, So that's why around between 2 and 2:30, you're probably going to find me on my yellow chaise taking a quick power nap. And I'm totally good with it, because I actually see little kids. I'm not just a self-love coach. I still am a teacher. And I see kids from like 3 to 6, Monday through Thursday. Well, guess what? I'm better at what I do with that little power nap. So I'm okay. I love myself enough to know what I need, to ask myself what I need, and then give myself permission to give me what I need. And how many of us have been stuck in that trap of, if you have a spouse, a partner, even a best friend, when we expect them to give us what we need. So I coach a lot of couples too. And one of the big things is, we can have needs from other people, but ask yourself first, how can I give this? Like, what am I needing? In a relationship setting, it might be comfort or more safety. I always coach my clients, how can you give that to yourself first and then ask somebody else for it? So I have a tool called the Joy List, and it's one of my podcast episodes. If you listen to my podcast, you can find the Joy List episode, but this is a really great tool that I've used with my clients. I created one myself where it's in the notes section of your phone, pinned at the top. You can name it whatever you want, but I call it my Joy List. And it's active, like you use it. So anytime you feel joy, stop and add it to your Joy List. So for example, I really found out, because I'm pretty introspective, that any restaurants, especially during the pandemic, that had those little white lights made my tummy tickle. I just felt joy. I love little white lights. So I added it to my Joy List. And then it's a twofold, because then I'm like, oh, I need more white lights in my life. So you probably can't see it, but my dad built me a huge sailboat, and it's right in my apartment. There you go. And because I realized fairy lights bring me so much joy, I added it to my sailboat, and I turn them on every night just to bring more joy in my life. So that's just a silly example, but it makes me happy every single night when I turn on my sailboat. But having an active Joy List makes you present, and recognizing when you're feeling joy, add it to the list. And so you're being more intentional, right? And then the other thing is when you are having a low time, which we all do, we all have hormones and, but when we're like kind of down or in darkness or in fear, anxiety, I pull out my Joy List and I'm like, oh yeah, personal dance party. I'm going to do that. I'm going to raise my elevation. So I go to my Joy List when I need some more joy. And that is such a big thing that I want to pass on to you, is make fun, joy, laughter seriously a part of, if you can't do it every day, do it every week. Like, as it's an assignment, as it's, a doctor's appointment. Make fun, joy, and laughter intentional. We're really reactive about that, right? Like, we wait for joy and fun to come to us. We get to flip the switch on that. And I really hope that you take that away, because that's what's going to fill your cup. Maybe it's with other people, maybe it's with your kids, but I was single for a long time, and I took a time off of dating, and it was a lonely, sad time, right? Like, so on my joy list is stand-up comedy shows. So every Friday night, I made a date with myself that I'd watch a different stand-up comedian on Netflix. And oh my gosh, I wasn't sad anymore. I actually looked forward to my Friday nights, because I sat there for an hour and a half and just laughed. So it really made that kind of difficult time really fun. And then, when I went back into dating, I realized, okay, I need to find somebody that values and prioritizes fun and laughter just as much as I do. I found him. He's awesome. Jessica met him. But anyway, side note, when we're more intentional about that, it not only fills our cup so that we are more efficient as business owners, but it just makes the journey of building our business so much more enjoyable. And I said on the little picture that I sent out, that's the goal, right? So many businesses burn out. So many of us have, really leaned into the hard part of being an entrepreneur. And then what do? We stop, and then we beat ourselves up. These tools, this focus on self-love, will help you be, I'm a runner. I've run a couple marathons. If I focused on every single ache and pain in those 26 miles, I could have never done it. I had to look at the marathon as long-term and take it step by step, but I had to look at it long-term. Otherwise, I couldn't have done it. Being an entrepreneur, building a business is just like that. The last thing I'll say about that is give yourself permission to pivot. I've watched Jessica beautifully start one thing and just gracefully go into something different. Give yourself permission to do that. Go with the flow. I didn't know that when I started my podcast, 3 years ago, what it would evolve into. Stay open. Stay open to what the abundant possibilities are. Give yourself that permission to show up, do what you're guided to do, because you're doing that self-connection and checking in, and you're doing that GNS of what do I need. And when you do that, you're really turning your will over to the universe. And that's when magic happens. I didn't even know in January that I'd be planning this retreat. The retreat's always been in the back of my mind. It was my Monday morning participants that were like, we want to meet. And I said, okay, I'll throw a retreat here at the beach. And oh my gosh, it was amazing. So stay open and give yourself permission to, just pivot, evolve, expand. That's what abundance is expansion. It's so exciting. So the last thing I want to end with, oh, good. And we'll have about 10 minutes for you guys to hop on and ask questions or give ahas or whatever. But the last thing I want to say is our purpose is not what we do. It's who we are. So I heard, marketing. You're not a marketer. You're not even a business owner. You're not even a hairstylist or a salon owner. That's what we do. Our purpose is who we are as a person. And that's awesome, because that means you're taking your purpose into whatever you do. And as an entrepreneur, we wear a ton of different hats. Like I said, I go from coaching to teaching little ones to sponsoring women in a 12-step program. Like, I wear a lot of hats. My purpose goes with me no matter what hat I wear. So think about that. And that's what I want to end you with. And take some time. And if you have something you want to share or a question, the time is now yours. Thank you so much for letting me do this. I love entrepreneurs. I love beautiful women. So this has been really, really exciting for me. Thanks for giving me the opportunity.
Okay, can I start? You just took me on this emotional roller coaster. I texted Jessica within like 5 minutes. I'm like, I love her. I love her. I love what you're doing. I love it. I feel so connected to everything that you were sharing. A little bit about my journey, and I don't know, I think I've probably shared some of this with some of you in the room, but after 17 years of grinding in not just in business, but as a wife, as a mother, as all this, it's like I really truly lost sight of who I was and the true essence of who is Lori. And I always go back to my why do I do what I do and all that, and it starts to become like the same answer, and it doesn't feel authentic and genuine anymore. But it really, really, when I sit down and I slow down and I remember that why and how that made me feel and how that makes me feel and what it has done in my business, that's where kind of the magic happens. And so I've through this past year, the words that have kind of, I hate saying it's like my, I don't like resolutions. I don't like that, because it takes away from the flow of the way, how it's supposed to be. But I really try to stay open and curious to all options. And with that, going back to my why is exactly how I got to where I am today. So it really kind of created that whole purpose again. And so I appreciate all this. I love the tools that you provided us with. The GNS, it's such a good reminder, because I believe that in business, there's these moments that we have this fear of, what if they don't like me? What if it doesn't work? What if my employees quit? What if, all the what ifs, all the fears. But on the other side of that fear, it's like if we can embrace that fear as kind of our friend, as that, because without that fear, we wouldn't have all the goodness, without the darkness, we don't have the light, it's that yin yang. And it was just a really good reminder and an awesome tool, because those times are going to happen. Yesterday I had a shit day. It was like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? I don't even like it anymore, and it's like, I went to my coach and shared all that, and she's like, okay, well, let's talk about it, and leaning into that and not trying to push it away or push it down, and, like leaning into it. And so, I love this tool. I love it. This is great. So more of this, Jessica, more of this, please.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm a words of affirmation love language. So thank you so much. I'm
well,
feeling
good.
so much love. I do just want to say she hit on a really good thing. Our why evolves as we evolve.
Mm-hmm.
My first coaching business 10 years ago, my why was my daughter, who was 15 at the time. She's 25 now. So allow your why to evolve as you evolve too. Again, expand. Thank you so much, Lori. Awesome.
Oh, my pleasure.
And I'll see you on.
Yeah, I do. I hired a local gal who I'm pretty aligned with, but yeah, I'll see you at 8 a.m. on Mondays.
Awesome. Yes. Well, I think I have most of your information now, but I definitely will. So I have Sarah, Michelle, Heather, Lori, Christy, Christina, Robin. Did I miss anyone?
I didn't get your initial email, so I don't know if you have it written down. You have it correctly, but I did put it in your Instagram
Okay, perfect.
messages.
Thank you so much, Lori. Someone else?
I could share really quick. For the past 7 years, I've been doing this meditation practice where at the end of the year, I just let everything go and I meditate. I meditate every day anyways, but my end of the year meditation focuses in on the, excuse me, on the next year. And I focus in on one word. So for the past 7 years, I've had one word that carries me through the entire year. And this year, the word has been busy. And boy, have I learned a lot about what being busy is, what it's not, how to protect resources and really be busy with intention. So every year I've learned something that's just compounded my life. And it's been a really great practice. So it reminds me a lot of kind of what you're talking about, digging in deeper, and it really does make a difference.
That is so beautiful, Sarah. Thank you for sharing. And meditation is a great form of self-connection. However, I want to say that meditation looks and feels different for everyone. There's lots of different types of meditation. So if you think that you can't sit and, chant, try a different type of meditation. I learned how to meditate through running, because what I attach meditation to is allowing thoughts to flow in and out without attachment. And I learned to do that while running. So then I take it to the mat. So thank you for bringing up meditation. Thank you for bringing up, because we are in November, how to release the year and welcome in a new year. I love that you have a word. Same. I wear a word every year. These bracelets are called myintent.org. My word for 2023 was connection. And oh my goodness, I was just reflecting in the shower the other day, like how much connection has been brought into my life in 2023. And so, yeah. And when you sign up as a client with me, I gift them with a bracelet with their word for the year on it. So if you need a business coach and you feel aligned with me, let me know and we can meet up and chat. Thanks, Sarah. Anyone else? We've got a few more minutes.
Well, there was a lot of things that, I have tons of notes. I had to go on multiple pages. But the silly thing of taking a nap every day, it is something that I do. And I don't like to tell people because, yeah, I feel like there's shame and like a laziness to it. But my nap time is actually, I feel like, better rest than I get during the night. And so, but anyway, it's like I always have this list of things to do, but I'm like, I feel like if I take 30 to 60 minutes to do this nap, I will wake up more like ready to go and just think better. And it's like an emotional thing. Like if I'm tired, I'm grumpy. So just handling things differently. So I like, I've heard you say this before, but I liked writing it down a few times, is like, give yourself permission to do XYZ. So I'm not going to be embarrassed of it. I don't need to go like telling everyone that I'm a napper every day, but yeah.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, like so much of the work that I do is connecting you back to yourself and owning it, right? Like, if napping makes you a better person, own it. Like, who cares? And
okay, I'm Jessica Chavez and I'm a napper.
I actually started a hashtag called Nappers Unite. It's like, why are we shaming ourselves for sleep? Sleep is just as important as good nutrition, exercise, great sex. Like, I'm gonna, it's only awkward if we make it awkward, right? So awesome.
Totally. So true.
I love that there's like so much alignment. I feel like with like Heather and I just, you know, helped host a BLOS event that was all about like taking the busy out of, you know, kind of our life. And there was a lot of kind of, I just felt like alignment with some of the what we talked about and then what you were sharing with today. And I love the Miracle Morning book and a lot of what you talked about. I just felt like, okay, I'm already doing that. And there was some of that in the self-awareness piece, but I love that under self-acceptance, you were talking about like asking, like, what do I need today? And what do I need to surrender? Like those two things just in really simplistic forms, like you said, before you wake up or even get out of bed, sometimes you're asking, you know, that. I think those are two questions I don't ask enough of. I do the gratitude, I do the journal, I do prayer and meditation and all that, but I don't ask enough of like, okay, what do I need today, you know, from me? So, or from the world or the universe or what, you know, God, whatever, you know, whoever you know, think or believe in, but that's to me, like, that was huge. So I definitely need to do that. And then just like it, like almost like scheduling the fun or inviting the fun. I try to do that with my kids. I try to do that every day, but I think just being more aware of that and having that joy list, I think those were just some really fun ideas that I think can just add value to all of us. So thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah. You said something that I just wanted to reflect back for 1 second. Oh, yeah. Somehow we were taught, I don't know where this came from. Somehow we were taught, A, it's not okay to ask for what we need. And B, I'm glad you brought up like spirit, like powers greater than us. Because really, like whatever you believe in, right? Doesn't matter if we call it God or source or creator or universe, whatever you want. But where's the message that we can't ask that source for what we need? Like, so I really am dispelling that. That's not true. I believe my source wants to abundantly give those things to me because that's what makes me my highest self. So why wouldn't I ask? Why wouldn't I ask for more energy or more compassion or, you know, more peace, calm, all of those things? So give yourself permission to ask for what you need. When I work with my clients, that second one, the N, is always the most difficult. We have to break through that barrier of it's not okay to ask for what I need. So thank you for bringing that up. All right. Any burning desire before we log off? So
I'm
Monday,
really grateful for this. This was good.
Yay.
Good stuff.
I'm so glad. And feel free to connect with me one-on-one. My Monday Morning Tribe, it's free. It's on Zoom. Like I said, I do a little bit of like a meditation at the beginning. I'll just give you a sneak peek. You can show up, like no full hair and makeup is required. Some people even come laying in bed. You don't have to have your camera on. You don't have to speak. You can just come to listen. That's 5 things that we share about. Our self-love win of the week. That's like our self-celebration. Like, this is something I did and I want to speak it out. And that's really exciting. Number 2 is something you love about yourself. And that's really hard for people. So it's been beautiful to see the people who come consistently break that barrier. And then people who have been coming for a long time, they actually say things that they used to like judge and criticize, that now they're learning to love that part of themselves. So that's number 2. Number 3 is something you're grateful for. Number 4 is a struggle you might be kind of going through. Speaking it out releases it, but I do a little bit of self-love coaching on how to look at that struggle through the lens of self-love. And then we set a self-love intention for the week. Some of the women use the journal and cards. Some of them just say, you know what, this week I need to be kinder to myself in my self-talk. So we're just speaking out these self-love principles. It's really magical. And these women, they live all over, and they've become another layer of support and authenticity and safety. And it's really beautiful. So I think all of you messaged me on Instagram. I will give you the invite to that. And I really hope to see you there. It's really a magical space. All right. Thanks, everyone. I'm going to stop
Thank you.
recording.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jessica. I love you.